Hello, and welcome to another edition of All or Not According to Jack with your host, Jack Toledano. And as you can see, I have a very special guest. Again, I can't get my hands right. George Lamie, uh, famous for being on the Sea of Tranquility, and also famous for, and I just want to say congratulations to you, George, for Pete made you a co-producer. Is that correct?
I believe the title is Assistant Program Director.
Assistant program director, official, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And supposedly, from what I understand, Pete made George an assistant program director because he runs a show called For Fusion Friday. And as Pete explained it, George does all the research, gets all the guests and whatever topics that they cover. And first of all, I just want to say welcome and congratulations. And tell us a little bit about that if you can.
Yeah. Comes from one of the other Proxy panelists, Eric Porter. He found his way into jazz fusion and he loved it. And he kind of made me his guru, kind of a guide, and he got very excited about it. So he wanted to make a show, but you know how busy Pete is.
Oh, yeah.
Pete was resistant at first. He's like, I don't really have the time.
Yeah.
So we went back at him, and as part of his agreeing to do it, he said, honestly, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but you I can't do any work on it. Someone else has to do all the work. So I was like, okay, I'll do everything. I make the topics, I book the guests, I pick the material we're going to talk about, everything. But I feel good about that. I feel like I want to give Pete a time to just come on and be a guy instead of being worried about everything, like he
That's
always does.
awesome. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So he
I,
can just come and be one of the dudes.
okay, very cool. And so what do you basically, is it jazz fusion or other types of fusion?
Yeah, it's jazz rock fusion. The the gist of it is kind of based off of something that Eric used to post, Facebook posts. He would always have four CDs and as now listening kind of posts. Here's what I'm checking out or whatever, or here's what I bought. But they were never like, they were always like disparate CDs. I thought, well, what if they were all connected by some theme, like the country, the year, the guitar player, whatever it is. Like if we had a theme for that, we could rank those every week or every month or.
Hmm.
So that's how that came about. So that's the gist of the main gist of the show. We start out with a new releases segment, then we do this ranking of these four themed albums. And at the end, there's I pick a more obscure thing to talk about, kind of mining the depths of my knowledge of the topic.
Okay, but that's very cool. Happy for you.
I
Uh,
like the
how-
idea of a magazine format. Like a lot of the other shows are pretty straight one thing. I kind of like the idea of segments.
okay, that's very cool. I have to plead ignorance here because about the only thing I know about jazz rock fusion or bands like Chicago and Steely Dan. So I should watch sometimes to get some more knowledge on that.
Yeah.
And I understand you do it once a month.
Yeah. First Friday of every month.
Okay, that's cool. Nice to know. And thank you for
Yeah.
giving Pete a break because I know how hard this is. And for me, sometimes doing one or two episodes a week is tough because,
Yeah. Just me running this one show is sometimes it's a bit
yeah.
much. For
And
him to do what he does, forget about it.
this top three metal, before I just put 2014 out there. And prior to that, I hadn't done an episode since August. It's been quite a while. I mean, with well, like travel, I had a bunch of travel in the fall. I went to Ireland, I went to Florida a couple of times. So,
Uh,
we got home improvement projects going on, which thankfully my kitchen project is finally winding down, and I can uh, pull a glass of water from the refrigerator again and cook on my stove. So makes life
I
a
was
little.
kind of I was kind of surprised you weren't done because
Well,
I
no,
would
this is different. This is not upstate. This is my main home. We had a problem where we had to like basically redo the whole kitchen.
no,
So,
I was talking about with these top five, top
oh
three.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
no,
was commenting a bunch of them and putting my picks in the
yeah,
comments,
yeah.
and it seems like it was a while ago.
I know. Well, that's why I'm trying to think of it as like a season premiere last week. So, hopefully, I'm going to get them all done this year. So, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
No jazz fusion speak tonight. It's going to be all metal speak. So we have our top three metal albums of the year 2015, and I'm going to start with your first one, George. What do you got?
All right. My first one, not a band, not a lot of people know about. The heck here. Give me a second.
Okay, sure. I guess you have a screen visual.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not wanting to load that.
okay. But
There we go.
mine is going to be in my background when we get to mine. So while George is loading, this is a new shirt that my son Jason bought for me. Patty's Irish Pub. For those who like to watch the show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a show that just cracks me the hell up. So,
We'll refresh.
okay, we had to pause for 2 seconds as George got his visual going. So, what is this first album?
This is a Japanese band called Galnerius. They
Oh,
are power metal, uh,
interesting.
kind of Halloween meets Angra, a little very more similar to Angra, but also the fast stuff's more Angra-ish, the slower mid tempo stuff's more Halloween-ish. Vocals are kind of Michael Kiske-ish. The guitar player and the keyboard player are virtuoso guys. They do a lot of trade-offs and stuff. Really melodic vocals. This is actually my favorite of their albums. They have a lot of albums. They've been around for, I would say, 25 years.
Wow. And I
Um,
never heard of them. Imagine that.
yeah, I never heard of them until about 6 or 7 years ago. I was looking at one of these year-end lists. Everybody has their best CDs of the year, and a guy had one of their the albums, and just in one of those moods he had YouTube links for songs. So I was like one of those moods to actually check it out, and just fell in love with them. They're so good at what they do. To me, they're along with Angra, they're like the apex of power metal for me. So uh,
Hilarious. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, Under the Force of Courage is this one.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
that's my first pick.
I like the artwork. That's really cool. That
Yeah,
reminds me of like a a Manowar cover,
yeah, yeah. I can go with that.
and basically the same guy who who drew the cover of Kiss Destroyer,
Yeah, Ken Kelly.
Ken Kelly. That's it. Yep. Very nice.
Yeah, I encourage people to check it out.
Okay. Well, so my first cover isn't going to be that big, but I keep mine displayed for the whole time. So we'll go with my first one, and this is something of a super group. Uh, Level 10. This is Matt Sinner and Matt Sinner of Primal Fear and Russell Allen of Symphony X. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
never heard of the record. No.
yeah, no, it's you know what? As always, Russell kills it on this. Some of my favorite songs on this are "Cry No More," "Soul of a Warrior," uh, "Blasphemy," "In for the Kill," "Demonized." Uh, the song "Blasphemy," all good things rolled into it's kind of a ballad. Then it gets a little heavier. "In for the Kill" has some Halloween vibes to it. Uh, All Hope Is Gone, which is a ballad, the one ballad on the album, but it's mainly Russell and Matt and some session musicians. And you know, uh, in times, these days Symphony X goes a lot of years in between albums, so it's nice that Russell fills some of the gaps with some of these other projects that he has, like Level 10 and Adrenaline Mob, and some of his solo stuff and some of his guest appearances. So
Do you have name guitar players on this thing or what?
I could find out. Yeah, let me just do a search on that.
And is it power metal a la Primal Fear or
Well, no, they're considered a heavy metal supergroup. So on this album, we have Roland Grappo.
okay?
Yeah. So Roland is best known for his work with Halloween.
Hey, he's good.
Alessandro Del Vecchio. He's known for his work with Jorn Land, Revolution Saints, uh, Vandenplas, Matt Sinner, among others, Hardline. And then
Okay.
drummer Randy Black, uh, Primal Fear, and Annihilator. So
So it's more like traditional metal, kind of priestish maybe.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a little. It's a mixture of power metal with a little maybe prog metal, but not as much prog metal. But definitely more prog metal than say Adrenaline Mob, which is almost devoid of any proggy,
Yeah,
effects, so to speak.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you have next?
The next one is from Australia, a band called Terra Maze. The
Okay.
album's called Her Halo. They're melodic, heavy prog metal. Uh, they don't really sound like anybody to me. I guess if you want to be generic, they're in the Band and Plus Dream Theater area, but I'd say a
Okay.
little heavier, a little more on the heavy side than those. Um, this is the first album with the new singer that they had at the time named Nathan Peachy. This guy is really good. If you want to hear a guy do some belts, this dude, he's excellent.
If
Um,
if you had to say who he sounded like, who would you say? And
uh, yeah, that's a little tough.
okay.
The guitar player Dean Wells is the mastermind. He writes all the songs.
Okay.
Um, this is my favorite of their stuff. Uh, I think this might have been another year-end CD list find
Oh, okay.
for the year that it came out.
Always a
Uh,
good thing.
yeah, it's worth people's time to go over those lists. I know you got to slog through a bunch of stuff you don't care to hear about, but you can find a gem in there once in a while, you know.
Definitely. Yeah. Well,
But
that's
high recommendation on this one.
well, here's the thing. So I started with 1980, and the 80s were easy for me because I knew a lot of albums, but as the years wear on, there are some really lean years where I have to really dig deep and try and find some of these that I like. And yeah, and that was the case with this year. So uh as you'll see with a couple of my other ones. So all right. So my next, let's get there. And you're going to know this one, hands down, no question.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden Book of Souls. So now, the thing about Iron Maiden Book of Souls is, I know that they've had their detractors because it's kind of venturing into the realm of prog metal. But you want to know something? I heard this album, I fell in love with it. It is freaking amazing. So you're getting, first of all, you're getting over 90 minutes of music stretched across two discs. Uh, they have a couple of songs that kind of harken back to the older Maiden. Um, but then you have the songs that are like 10, 12 minutes long that kind of harken back to like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. But they sound fucking phenomenal here. Uh, Basically, my favorite songs on this album are the first five. If Eternity Shall Fail, Speed of Light, which is their standard 3 to 4 minute barn burner. The Great Unknown, the Red and the Black, which is a Steve Harris tune, which I love. That's clocks in at 13 minutes. It almost sounds like he's playing an acoustic bass in the very beginning, which is really cool. When the River Runs Deep, and then a couple of songs on disc two, which I really like. Death or Glory, Shadows of the Valley, and Tears of the Clown. So, uh, and and furthermore, so I went and I saw Maiden on this tour with a buddy of mine, and we talked about this last night, so I had to get a picture of him in there. Uh, this is my good brother Lee Backless and I uh, going to a bar prior to seeing Iron Maiden at the Brooklyn Arena. Um, and they played like five of the tunes from this album, and it was great. And I read a lot of comments where, how so Pete's always stressing to people to try and listen to the newer stuff by these bands, and I'm seeing these comments, people saying, "Oh, I wish they would just play their older stuff." So my answer to that is, dude, if that's your attitude, stay the fuck home and listen to Live After Death.
Yeah.
Don't go to the concert, because you know what? I want to see their newer stuff. And they treated us to like five of these tunes, which was really cool. Uh, Whenever I see Priest, they only do two or three off the new record, which kind of irritates me a little. So
They've been doing better on their set lists in recent years as far as the back catalog stuff they play is they switch it around.
Priest, you mean, right?
Yeah, yeah, not
Yeah.
Maiden.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah, no, Maiden could improve there a little bit, but I heard that they might have. I can't think of what, but I heard they grabbed a few older tracks that they hadn't played in a long time. But
Yeah, this tour they're going out on now or whatever, they
yeah.
brought back a bunch of tunes specifically from Somewhere in Time that
Oh,
they
okay.
had.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Alexander the Great, I think, was
yeah,
one.
they supposedly never played that, and then a
Wow.
couple of ones that they haven't played since that tour they're bringing back. So that's
Right.
different at least.
Okay. But yeah, so I am very high on this record. Uh, there we go. I am very high on, yeah, Book of Souls. Maybe not as much Senjutsu, but that one did kind of grow on me a little bit, and I've got a few years to talk about that one if it makes my cut, but we'll see. But Book of Souls, no question.
All
So
right.
back to your third.
Since
Ah, there you go. Speaking of Russell Allen.
yeah, I mean, this album, this is where I diverge from our friend Pete and probably you too. I didn't I don't really love Iconoclast. To me,
Really
that might be one of my lesser Symphony X albums. I just felt
interesting.
the production was sludgy. There was
Uh-huh.
no reason for it to be two discs.
Right.
The good songs were good, but not to me as good as
See,
like
I like that sludgy sound, so that's, I guess
yeah,
that's me.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't for me. It was like too industrial sounding.
Right.
So this is like 4 years later. I didn't know what to expect. I kind of had low expectations. When this came out, man, the first two or three singles, I'm loving each one. Like, wow, this is really good. Then I finally lay hands on the whole album and so pleased with it. I mean, all the way through,
So
it's a classic album for me.
okay. So what are some of your favorites on Underworld?
Kiss of Death, just
Okay.
love the chorus in that. Russell sounds so tough.
Okay.
Um,
Gates of Sharon, I guess.
Charon, yeah, Charon,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
gives you that like Gates of Babylon vibe a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
A Legend, really
Uh-huh.
good closer. Just a great album, almost all the way through. There's a couple of tunes that are a little mid-rangey, but overall, this is a really, really good Symphony X album. I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Okay. If I were to rate mine, Maiden gets a 5. Level 10 gets maybe a 4.5, kind similar to Underworld. But all right.
And you liked Underworld, right?
Yeah, I like Underworld. I don't like it as much as Iconoclast, obviously, but yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, because I love Iconoclast. It's just very heavy. Uh,
Yeah.
it's funny getting back to Priest. There were those that so what was the album? I think it was the one prior to Firepower. I can't think of the name of it.
Redeemer of Souls.
Redeemer of Souls, yeah. That was very sludgy, and there were those that complained about the production on that album, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Whereas the new album that they have coming out in another month sounds a little too clean for me. But
It does sound really clean.
I am keeping my fingers crossed that there are some redeeming qualities on that album because so far it's going to take a little convincing for me.
I like the first two singles, but the one that just came out this week, yeah,
Crown of Thorns, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, more to talk about on that in future episodes.
yeah.
Okay, so my third, and I'm sorry, Lee, that your picture has to go now. I have only so much room on the screen, so
With the way that that rug is behind you guys, it almost looks like you're wearing kilts.
yeah, a bunch of people have said that, but I think it's more of like a one of those doors that lead to the basement. Yeah, that's what that is actually. It's not actually a rug, but yeah, it does look like kilts, and I've had to do a double take a few times, but okay, so this is what I have next. Armored Saint. Uh Win hands down. So Armored Saint is not a band that I've really talked about in the series, but they are a band that I like. On this particular album, my favorite songs are An Exercise in Debauchery, With a Full Head of Steam, In an Instant. The song In an Instant starts out a little bit of an acoustic opening, and it has something of a Alice in Chains vibe to it.
All right.
And then they have the song Dive, which is a ballad. No, I really wasn't interested in any ballads, but there you have it. They actually have a song at the end called Up Yours, which I thought was pretty good. Muscle Memory, pretty good. And the title track is quite good, Win Hands Down. So that's my third. Armored Saint, Win Hands Down. So, folks, little surprise for you. We weren't going to stop at 3. We each have a fourth for you because for us it was a good year 2015. So, what do you have for number 4, George?
My extra one is Caligula's Horse. The album's called Bloom. There's again another Australian band, which two
Oh,
Australian bands. That's weird, but
interesting. Wow. Hmm,
yeah, they're a big deal prog metal band right now. Other than Haken, I think they're probably maybe Leprous. They're probably the most visible prog metal band on the scene. For
interesting.
good reason. The singer kind of reminds me of the guy from Tool, but
Oh,
more emotional for me. Um, and musically, they're pretty unique. They got a little bit of gent to them, but they're more unique. It's hard to put a feel for the guy's riffing style. Sam Vallon is the guitar player. He writes all the music, and he's got his own vibe. He's a really good player. Even before they made it, he was a visible guy on the John Petrucci forum, and he used to post demos there and stuff. And then they finally broke through. They funded their own first album, and then they got signed to Inside Out because they were getting a following.
oh,
But
good.
it's definitely a band to check out. They actually just put out their new album today. That was their sixth. This
Oh, they
is
put an album out today, you're saying?
yeah, just today.
Wow. And what's their name?
Caligula's Horse.
Caligula's Horse. Okay. So I guess I'll look for that in Pete's new CDs of next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm sure someone will review it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, recommended to anyone with a taste for genty prog metal with
Genty,
emotional
did you say?
vocals. A little bit of genty, not a lot.
Or what does that mean, Genty?
Like the riffing style is jagged,
Oh,
heavy, like down-tuned guitars and
oh,
jagged,
okay. Oh,
jagged.
okay. All right. Very cool. So my fourth, and this might come as a surprise to some, it's nothing like any of these other ones. This is more, I would say a little more, hard and simple and maybe a bit on the industrial side. Clutch. So let's get back to my notes for Clutch.
I got a friend that's a big Clutch fan.
Yeah. Psychic Warfare. I listened to this and I fell in love immediately. It's like, it's songs are mainly, 4-minute songs, but again, it's the production's a little dirty, which I kind of like, and a little sludgy, but very heavy in spots. Uh, so they had a great song, X-Ray Visions, A Quick Death in Texas. What else? Uh, Noble Savage, Behold the Colossus. So these are my favorite songs. The last song, which is like their longest songs of 7 minutes, Son of Virginia, has a bit of a priest rock-a-rolla feel for me. Uh, Our Lady has a bit of a cinematic Western feel. So again, they're from Texas. They're not really a little less jazzy or a little less bluesy than say ZZ Top, and no southern rock whatsoever. Just simple, straightforward metal, and I liked it. So
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry.
that's cool.
Yeah, I know. Pete did a ranking the albums with Clutch, but I didn't want to watch it yet until we did this, because I didn't want to have my opinion swayed in any way. So, but
And what's that on the cover? Like a tank or something?
yes, yes, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, that's but it's like a very close up view with the camera. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. But definitely something new for my arsenal, and I will definitely give these guys more listens. I liked it. You know,
Cool.
sometimes sometimes simple is better. I mean, like AC/DC, you know what you're getting from them. 4 5 minute songs, uh, no prog. It's just, in your face. You know what you're getting,
Yeah,
but very heavy.
the right music for the right mood.
Yep, exactly. And then when you want to listen to something a little more sophisticated, you listen to Symphony X or Book of Souls, which to me it's like I definitely think it was a it was a good step in the right direction for Maiden with this album. But that's me. So anything else you want to talk about, or any upcoming shows you have planned or going on with Sea of Tranquility?
Uh, Tuesday, the new in the Prague seat, we're doing top five of 1994, actually. Uh,
Okay.
so that'll be good. And then the new Core Fusion Friday is next Friday. And that'll
Oh,
be
okay.
1974. A lot of anniversary year shows going on right now.
Yeah, no, I know, but a funny story. So this past Monday, I was on Hudson Valley Square. So I'm not always on Hudson Valley Squares, but I happened to be on, and Pete was still talking to all the In the Prague Seat people. So I guess apparently he recorded prior to Hudson Valley Squares, and there was George, and then
Yeah,
all the all the Prague in the proxy, people slowly, popped out, and it was just Hudson Valley Squares, and we had a great discussion. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you
yeah,
watched it.
a little mini controversy on that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but yeah, there was a little controversy, but sometimes, controversy is a good thing. I mean, it makes for more interesting discussion. But
Yeah, a lot of views on that one, so
oh
something went
yeah, but you want to know? So I read the comments, and you know what? We got a lot of excellent comments also stating that it was like a best episode they've seen in a long time, and I felt proud that I was in it. But and I
I
enjoyed
like
it so
the
much.
I like the mishmash feel of that panel, some of the regulars and then some people
Yeah,
from other spots. It was interesting.
right. But yeah, well, because a few people couldn't make it, so but so he filled all the seats, which was cool, and I enjoyed it so much. I'm going to be in the next one as well. Uh,
Oh, nice.
yeah, and it's I don't want to give it away, but it's going to be a little more metal related, but that's all I can say. But
You're going to listen to the albums, right?
yes, yeah, or get crucified. Oh no, you know what? People, our viewers are very intelligent. They pick shit out,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's like, I was just joking with my wife. Of course, before this episode, I went into the bathroom to brush my teeth. I'm like, people will pick that shit out too. Well, my wife and I actually went out to a local diner in the town that I live in. And funny story about that. So Jerry Seinfeld has this show called Comedians in Cars Having Coffee. He
Hmm.
actually filmed at this diner with Sarah Jessica Parker
Okay.
right in my town. It was the coolest thing. Yeah. So funny story. So that's really all I have. So as I mentioned, so I'm going to try and bang these top metal albums out this year and get them finished. Because I have other ideas that I'd like to work on. Um, what else? I uh, I have some ideas for a future Honeymooners episode, future Seinfeld episode. Uh, and but also I'd like to say a special thank you to everybody for helping me get to my first 5K view uh, for the so Pete, myself, his brother Rich Catino, and Ove Rendon. We did an episode about our remembrances of Kiss after their final concert, and that um, episode went to over 5K. So that is my first video to make it over 5K. So I'm like ecstatic right now about that. So thank you, everybody. And you know what? Keep watching, keep subscribing. Please help me get to my next milestone of I'd like to get to 600 subscribers. So please help me out there. I really appreciate it. And George, thank you so much for coming on. Uh, Shame on me for not having you on, Top Metal Album sooner, but we have a bunch of more years to go if you want to join again. So
Yeah, I'm always up for it. And everybody hit the subscribe. Come on now.
you tell him, George. All right.
Yeah.
And hey, good luck with your shows on, in the Prague seat and for Fusion Friday. I know you have a lot of people watching and enjoying. So keep up the great work. So
Thanks.
to you and all the other in the Prague seat guys, which I'm friends with, at least some of them that I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
You met most all of them at the fest, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And so when I'm upstate, I live fairly close to Eric Porter, not too far from him. I think I'm only like what, maybe a half an hour, 40-minute drive from where Eric lives. So
Nice.
yeah. So if he ever starts playing live again in the better weather, I'll probably go check it out. So and that's all she wrote. So unless you have anything else you want to share, I'm going to bid everybody a fond good evening for tonight. So have a good one, everybody. Take care.